Hello everyone, this is Ambitious Painter and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hello guys, welcome back. In the last video, we created the memory drawing of the ice cream seller. Today we are going to bring that drawing to life with colors using Camlin Artist watercolors. Before we start coloring, let's quickly look at the setup. You should always keep a palette ready with the basic colors. In my palette, I have already filled lemon yellow, cadmium yellow, orange, scarlet lake, crimson lake, sap green, cerulean blue, cobalt blue, ultramarine blue and Payne's grey. On the other side of the palette, I keep my earthy tones, yellow ochre, burnt sienna and olive green. These shades are very useful for skin tones, shadows and natural elements. Along with the palette, keep a bowl full of clean water ready and I recommend using a mug. It's very handy and won't spill easily while working. For brushes, simple Camlin hair brushes are more than enough. You'll also need a rough cloth to dab and control the water. Once you have this setup ready, colors, brushes, water, cloth, you're good to go. So let's get started with coloring our memory drawing. First of all, I'm starting with the skin tones because this part should always stay fresh and clean. If we begin with the background or any darker shades, there's a big chance the color might smudge or mix into the skin. And we don't want that. So I always prefer starting with the skin. For this, I'm mixing orange and yellow to get a nice warm tone. You can also use yellow ochre for a softer earthy tone. And to add variety, try mixing a little bit of red in some areas. This way, every person in your drawing will have slightly different skin tones, which looks much more natural. So remember, orange, yellow, yellow ochre, and sometimes a touch of red. These are the shades we'll be working with for the skin. Now that we are done with the skin tones, let's move on to the dress colors. This part is really exciting because clothes bring so much life into the drawing. For kids, we always want to use fresh, bright and cute colors. So I'm choosing yellow, red, pink and blue. These colors instantly make the scene lively and cheerful. One important thing, when you're painting outdoors, avoid using green for clothes. Since green will already be present in the background, in the trees and the grass, using it on dresses will make the figures merge with the background. So, stick to the other colors. For example, for this little girl, I'm giving her a yellow frock. To add depth, I'm using a touch of orange for the shadow. And always remember this simple rule. We'll assume the light source is coming from the left side. That means every shadow must fall on the right side of the figure. No figure should have its shadow on the left because that will break the consistency and make the scene look off. So just by adding a little orange into the yellow and placing it on the right side of the frock, you get a neat shadow and the figure looks more three-dimensional. For the hair, I'm mixing burnt sienna, which is a brown shade, with just a little bit of blue. This gives us a darker brown tone which looks much more natural and balanced than using plain brown alone. Now for the other girl, I'm using Crimson Lake, which is basically a pink tone. First, I'm giving a plain light wash by adding more water. After that, I reduce the amount of water and apply the same color again for the shadow parts. If you want, you can also mix a little bit of blue into the pink for the shadows, but my suggestion is just use Crimson Lake with less water for the darker areas. That's enough. For her shots, I have chosen ultramarine blue. Again, I first gave a plain wash and then added a little shadow with the same color. Simple and quick. For the hair, I have filled it in already just to get the feel of the overall figure. And for the shoes, I have matched them with the dress colors so it looks neat and I don't waste extra time. Remember, when you're giving an exam, you don't have much time to sit and think which color should go where. So keep a few color combinations in mind beforehand and just apply them directly. This will save you time and keep your drawing consistent. Now for the third girl, I have given a red frock, and for the shadows, I just mixed in a little pink with the red. That makes it look softer and more natural. For the next figure, I have kept it simple with a blue top. And that's it. Our figures are all filled with bright, lively colors. For the men, sometimes it gets a little confusing. What color should be given to the shirt? What color for the pants? Usually we just stick to blue for pants, right? But here I am going to show you something different. I have given the pants a brown color. Now here's a simple tip for your exam. If the shirt is in a warmer tone, then go for cooler pants. And if the shirt is in a cooler tone, then balance it with warmer pants. That way, your whole composition will look balanced and neat. For this figure, I didn't want to use a warm shirt because just behind the figure there's a tree with a brown shade. If I used warm there, it would merge with the background. So instead, I applied a cool blue shirt and balanced it with warmer brown pants. And remember, you can use this trick in any memory drawing. Just balance warm and cool tones for a clear, eye-catching result. Also remember one very important thing when you're painting figures. Always keep an eye on the relationship between the figures and the background. If your background is dark, then give your figures a lighter tone. And if your background is light, then make your figures darker, brighter, or more saturated. The contrast is what separates your main subject from the background. Otherwise, everything will merge together and the subject won't stand out clearly. And that's the main goal of memory drawing. Your subject should be so clear that the viewer or examiner immediately notices what's happening in the scene. So always keep this in mind. Figures and background must stay in contrast. That's the key to making your drawing sharp and clear and effective. And one more thing to remember. While painting, don't just keep applying wash techniques or flow techniques everywhere. Don't ignore the borders or the outlines of the shapes. Think of them as simple shapes and just fill them with color. That way your drawing will look clear and clean in the end. You don't need a very professional watercolor wash over here. This is an exam and the examiner should be able to see your subject clearly. Have patience and don't get tired of filling. Think of it as creating a 2D design, filling up shapes. Later, when you finish, you can look at the whole drawing and then add shadows and final touch-ups. And one very important tip, don't pick colors randomly. Always plan your color combinations beforehand. By the time your exam day comes, just follow that plan. This way, you won't waste time deciding colors and your drawing will look fresh, clear, balanced. Now I'm applying yellow ochre for the ground so that it gives the look of natural mud. If instead you want to show a road, Then use Payne's Grey. Remember, Payne's Grey is a very helpful color for all the neutral tones. Wherever you see grey in your scene, just apply Payne's Grey directly. The best part is you don't need to waste time mixing brown and blue to create grays. Just use the pure fresh Payne's Grey straight from your palette. And if you want to darken the tone, simply add a little blue to it. To darken the card from the shadow side, I am reapplying Payne's Grey. I am simply layering it over the first wash so it creates depth and gives the shadow a stronger effect. For the central tree, I am using a fresh green so it stands out clearly. Now for the tree on the left side. Since it's closer, it needs to look a bit darker and richer. So I have mixed sap green with ultramarine blue and a touch of cobalt blue and applied that. And for the farthest tree, I have kept it much lighter by adding more water to the color. So it fades into the distance. That way it looks far away and creates a nice depth in the background. For the background buildings and other details, I have applied a light wash of cobalt blue in the sky. This helps keep the background soft and faded so it doesn't distract from the main scene. The objects and buildings behind will blend into that wash and won't appear too bright. By mixing everything with blue, the tones naturally shift to a cooler range compared to the foreground, which keeps the focus on the main subject. Now for this figure, I have given him a striped shirt in white and blue. I'm just filling in the blue areas first and later I'll add a subtle blue shadow to bring out the folds. For the pants, I have kept them in a warm grey tone, balancing the overall look as we discussed earlier. After we finish filling in all the shapes with their base colors, we'll move on to the details. This is where we start adding shadows, depth and folds to bring more life into the figures. Then we'll add finer details to the dresses and other areas so the scene feels complete and balanced. While painting the shadows, avoid using harsh, overly dark, or dull colors. Keep your tones fresh and lively right until the end. Always remember the overall composition. Your figures should stand out slightly darker, while the background should stay lighter and softer, fading gradually. Now, since this is an ice cream cart, the colors should relate to the subject itself: bright, cheerful, and playful. Think of it like ice cream. Keep it fresh, keep it pink, keep it fun in a way that appeals to kids. And remember, this applies to any topic. For example, if your subject is a visit to a hospital, then your main colors should shift to cooler tones like blue or green. Add details like banners, signs, or the hospital's name written clearly. These small but thoughtful details can really help you score higher in your exam. For the details in the trees, add fine lines to show the texture of the trunk using burnt sienna. Then bring the tree to life by adding touches of fresh sap green into the bushes, branches, and leaves. This little pop of color will make the trees look more natural and lively. Do the same with the other trees as well, but choose your colors carefully. For nearer trees, use darker greens by mixing blue with green. For trees that are farther away, simply add more water to lighten the tone. This way, your background trees will naturally fade into the distance, while the closer ones will feel stronger and more defined. Now, mix Crimson Lake with a little ultramarine blue. This will give you a violet-like, slightly neutral tone. Apply this to the houses and buildings in the background. It helps them stand out softly against the sky and creates a slight 3D effect, making them feel like actual objects in the distance rather than flat shapes. For the cast shadow, I have used burnt sienna mixed with blue. You can also use Penn's Grey directly since it works really well for shadows. Just create the shadow shape beneath the cart. If the light is coming from the left, the shadow will naturally fall on the right side. Remember, unlike the figure's shadow, the cart's shadow lies directly on the ground, anchoring it to the surface. This small detail adds depth, gives a 3D effect, and makes the cart feel heavy and real. In fact, all the figures in your memory drawing will look more believable once you place their shadows carefully. After adding all the shadows, details, and little fonts, the picture now feels complete. Remember, keeping it fresh until the very end is your goal. Once you have finished filling the figures and giving proper shadows, you can use the remaining time to add textures to the clothes. This way, you not only finish on time but also bring extra depth and detail to your work. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this color tutorial. In the next video, we'll be working on a complete still life, both drawing and coloring. If you would like me to cover other subjects, let me know in the comments. I already have 2-3 topics planned, but I'll definitely add your requests in future videos. So stay tuned, keep practicing, and as always, keep drawing and keep painting. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you want to watch more videos like this one, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get the instant notification on my latest video releases.